Hi guys, my name is George Fahim, and I studied architecture, which is a much more intense design curriculum than interior design. But before I get into it, I kind of was exposed to kind of design and I guess building things, and so I kind of knew I wanted to get into architecture. So I think that's pretty much a very important part before you go into college, because like it was said, it's really time consuming and money consuming. So I don't think you want to waste your time in college. You really want to get in and get out. That being said, I went to City College. I applied to two schools. There was NYIT and there was City College. There was only two pretty much, I think, that had architecture. It's a 5-year program, and NYT was, I think, $40,000 a year, and I think they only gave me like $10,000, and I wasn't gonna pay $30,000 out of my pocket. City College, on the other hand, was I think $6,000 a year, and I got a scholarship. So, at the end of the year, I'm pretty much, and I got financial aid, so you're pretty much covered. You're getting the same degree, better education because you have hands-on professors. So, people say there are colleges you should go to that are more famous and it probably sounds nicer, but at the end of the day, it's the same certificate you're getting anywhere else. So City College was a 5-year program. It's called a B-Arch, and it's pretty intense because you're going to be doing a lot of hours. It's not as rewarding because it's really, I guess, a loving kind of career. If you like to put your, do things with your hands and build things and actually conceptualize things and actually, bring it to an actual form, it's more of something for yourself. So it's not something you would go into expecting a great salary and you're going to be living this fancy life. It's something more for yourself, and it's kind of, if you think of it as you're building a space for the people. If your client's always a person, so you're always thinking about the individual. So it's a nice field in that perspective. Now that's in the design perspective. So as you get into it, and I didn't know architecture as much until I left it. Even though it was hard at some times, I never left it, because my dad always said, if you're gonna get into, even if you don't like it, finish it, because you're gonna end up leaving with nothing, and you're gonna be there for 10 years, and my life is gonna pass by without any actual job. So I went in, and it was struggling, and I left with a certificate, and I actually I with time it grew on me, and I liked it, but I still did not know what architecture was. There's so many fields. I worked with a contractor, and I learned the construction side of things. And then I worked for a design company, and I did more, I would say like this, how they renovated the church, and we took old buildings and we did nice designs. I worked also for a corporate company, and we do schools. We take old schools and we also renovate them. So there's so many different, areas where you could actually do design.
Hey guys, I don't have a sign, but I was asked to talk about pre-med in case you're not going into the Sophie Davis route or a more accelerated route. Is anyone here interested in medicine or becoming a physician? Okay. My name is Monica. I'm a pediatric resident, and I'll tell you how I got to be there. I first started undergrad at a public university called University of California, Irvine. I'm from California. It's much easier to enter the public system from a financial perspective because you're not paying nearly as much as a private school. So I ask you to highly consider public schools when you're applying to college, because you're going to be more limited in your choices when it comes to medical school and trying to attend a public school. And private schools are much more expensive. Medical school in the private setting is around $50,000 a year. Multiply that by 4 and you just lost $200,000. So I went to UC Irvine. I majored in biology, much like Abanoub in the pre-dental track was talking about. The biology major actually allows you to complete all of your med school requirements without taking any additional classes. So I did that because it would save me some time. You can also major in anything you want and then take the prerequisites, but remember that there's several prerequisites, including biology, general chemistry, organic chemistry, physics, and a few other classes. It takes about a year to apply, so you submit your application in June, you won't be starting school until August of the year after. So it's about an over a year process. I wasn't ready my junior year to apply to medical school, so I decided to do a master's program in between undergrad and medical school, and I did a Master of Science in Global Medicine. If you're interested in that, you can talk to me about it after, but I'm speaking about the medical field right now. I attended George Washington University. It's a private medical school in Washington, D.C. It's a nice way to get out of California, live on my own, enjoy being independent. There we had a really good exposure to a children's hospital, which inspired me to enter pediatrics, and now I'm here doing residency in pediatrics. Any medical residency is 3 years minimum, and then you can decide to start working after that residency or to subspecialize. Residencies that are 3 years include pediatrics, internal medicine, 4-year residencies, OBGYN, anesthesia. 5-year residency would be something like surgery. If you want to do a subspecialty like cardiology, pulmonology, what other ones are there? Endocrinology. Those are another 3 years, 2 to 3 years after your first residency. So you first do 3 years of medicine, internal medicine or pediatrics, and then you do your subspecialty, which is another application process. In terms of the exams that you're going to have to take, the MCAT for sure, and you want to take that around your second or third year of medical school. I recommend that you start earlier in case you need to retake it. I ended up retaking it, but my score didn't go up, so it didn't matter. It was God who got me there in the end. When you're in medical school, you take step 1. It's a very difficult first part of your licensing exam. That's after second year. Then you move on to your clinical years in third and fourth year. That's when you take step 2 and step 3. No, actually, you only take step 2 in medical school. Once you enter residency, in your first year, they want you to take step 3. Once you finish all 3 steps, then you're a licensed physician, but no one's going to hire you unless you go to residency. So residency is not really a choice. You finish after 3 years, and then whichever field you decided to graduate from in residency, then you take the boards for that. So after I finish, October after I graduate from my residency, I'm going to be taking the pediatric boards. There's several tests involved. You're not going to have a life for a lot of it, but they say it's worth it. I'm still on my way there. And just to help you guys understand, they really want you to be well-rounded. So in undergrad, it's not just about studying and getting a good GPA and scoring well on your MCAT. You want to think about how you could broaden your horizons and show them that you've really done a lot of stuff. And some things I did that you could also do is study abroad. I studied abroad in England for 2 months. I did some medical trips with CMANA, the Coptic Medical Association of North America. I recommend that you guys look into them. They do a lot of mission trips in Bolivia and other countries. I went to Bolivia with them. And then just joining clubs at school that will help you get into that field. I did some shadowing at a family medicine office, worked in a psychiatry office, did a lot of things. In the end, all of these things help you get in and really allow you to get enough exposure, like volunteering and being in that area. Is this life really for me or not? So don't just do it because everyone else does it, but really take that time where you're building your resume to decide if this is the field for you.
My name is Nancy. I'm a pharmacist. I guess we have different journeys how we became pharmacists. I'll start with mine. I went to St. John's Pharmacy Program, which is direct 6 years after high school. So after you graduate that fall, you'll start, and 6 years from then you'll graduate with your doctorate of pharmacy. It's relatively straightforward in that you don't have to take any admission tests to get into pharmacy school. Once you're in, as long as you maintain a certain GPA, you progress and then you eventually graduate with your PharmD. However, my biggest advice, because what you do after you graduate can be relatively competitive. It's important that you don't just get through the program, just pass, just meet the bare minimum. You want to position yourself to be the best candidate so that when you do graduate and you decide what you want to do, you're competitive enough to get those positions. Because once you graduate, you're going to be amongst a sea of pharmacists, and you have to be able to distinguish yourself. So how you did in school, not just in terms of grades, but how well-rounded you were, what you were involved in, what you did to separate yourself from other students. Employers will look at that. I work in the community setting. Some options when you do graduate, other areas that you can work in. You can work in a hospital. You can work in a standalone pharmacy, which is usually going to be in the community. So there's independent pharmacies, the bigger chains that CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid. And there's a lot of other non-conventional settings as well. So you can work with doctors in their offices, you can work with insurance companies, you can work with drug companies, nuclear pharmacy. There's so many things that pharmacy itself is growing, so the jobs are growing as well, and the roles of pharmacists are growing with them. So it's definitely an exciting time in that you have a lot of options, but when you graduate, not all those positions are going to be available to you right away. So you have to be willing to take something else and then work towards the position that you eventually want.
All right, guys, who's an 11th grader? Just a quick show of hand. Who's a 12th grader? Okay, so we got a lot more 12th graders. For 12th graders, you guys haven't applied to schools yet, right? I think you apply next month. Okay, so out of the 12th graders, how many of you know what you want to get into? Okay, and who's still kind of unsure, doesn't know yet? Okay, so we got a couple people that are still unsure. Okay, I'll tell you, when I was in your place, I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I'll give you a quick hint: talk to people. That's how you know what you like and what you don't like. And actually, at one point, I thought I knew what I wanted, and because I talked to people, I realized what they're doing, I really don't want to do, nothing, right? So my suggestion, try to talk to people. You guys have a month. Try to talk to as many people as you want. If you want to do medicine, talk to a couple doctors, see what they do, see what the process is, get yourself in. If it's something you want, it's something you want. Sometimes you can't decide, go with something. Go the thing that you favor the most, but you have to go with something, right? So again, just very quickly about me, I'm a pharmacist. Pharmacy is a 6th year. Best thing about pharmacy is that once you graduate, you have one of the highest salaries that you can earn. It's about 120. So you're going to be about 24 years old, making a really high salary.
But you don't go up from there much.
Yeah, so it's kind of stable, but it's stable around a good level, right? Yeah. You're going to have a lot of loans because it's an expensive school. But I would say within 5 years, you should pay all of your loans off and live very comfortably. There's some exams you have to do. One thing you have to know about pharmacy is that you're studying drugs. There's a lot of memorization. Your brain has to be centered around memorization. I know two different types of people. There's people that memorize and people that can problem solve. Pharmacy needs a lot of memorization. You have to memorize a lot of things. Some of you are still taking SATs, I believe, 11th graders. So there's a society, it's called the Coptic Education Foundation. It's available in California. This is a Coptic committee. It's a foundation that they offer help to high school students going to college. So one of the things they do is that they give a 30% coupon to Princeton Review SAT prep. I'm gonna send it to Mary as well. So this is part of the Coptic Education Foundation. And if you guys want the coupon, all you have to do is go on the Princeton Review, sign up for the SAT review classes, and the code is CEF, T as in Tom, PR14. CEF, T as in Tom, PR14, and I'm going to be available after. If you guys, I'll give it to you. There's also a couple of scholarships that I do have for Coptics. So these scholarships are specifically just for Coptic high schoolers. So they're kind of easy to apply to. So you guys can ask me about those as well. I can give you more information. But in terms of the school, talk to people as much as you can. I know a lot of people left today, but if you meet them in church next week or the week after, try to get to ask as many questions as you can about that degree, because that's going to be your life. And One thing I want to touch about healthcare, specifically being in pharmacy, is that you can help a lot of people. I know engineering, you can do your job and still help out. But in healthcare, you can help in a lot of different settings. When I go to Egypt, there's sick people in Egypt I can help. When I go to Africa, there's sick people in Africa I can help. Whenever I'm around my community here, there's people that I can help here. So one thing good about healthcare is that you can be used in a lot of places, and you can use your skills in a lot of places. Thank you, guys.
I think I'm the last one. So you know what they say, best is for last. So let's do this. I'm going to be talking about IT. That stands for Information Technology. I hope I'm holding this right. So information technology, I mean, it has a lot of branches. There's software, there's hardware, there's web developer, there's security, and then there's networking. So I'm actually into the networking part / security / everything I just named, actually. I just do everything. But I'm not really into programming, so I tend to leave that for my coworkers. But for me, I basically narrow it down to networking / security, because when you talk about security, it kind of relates to networking, because you're creating a network and you're making sure it's secure. So at the end of the day, you're making sure you're creating a secure network for your coworkers to pretty much do everything on. That's how they communicate. That's how they get things done. So about college, it's going to be 4 years. So I went to York. It's 4 years. Any college you go to, if you're majoring in computer science like I am, it's going to be 4 years. It's short. It depends what you want to do, really. I mean, everything is 4 years, and if you want to do masters, that's up to you. You don't really need to do. You don't need to do school, because computer science is one of the things where if you're just good at what you do, and if you get an internship early on, and if you get certifications, which is much more important than doing your courses in school, you will go far. So pretty much there's a lot of companies that are handling certifications like CompTIA. There's Microsoft, there's Cisco, there's a lot of certifications to get. There's a lot of different careers you could go into. For networking, I had to do A+. I did A+ certification. I did Network Plus certification, Storage Plus, Server Plus. All these things make you look good when you're applying to college, when you're applying to companies. So, I mean, classes is just one thing. It's important to go to school, of course, get that bachelor's, get masters if you want to, but you should apply to internships very early on. Like after freshman year, you should actually start applying to internships in your sophomore year, junior year, because if you don't get that experience going on in early in your life, it's going to be really hard when you graduate. They're going to look at your grades, and that's actually, computer science is not really based on grades like all other careers. It's really based on the experience and your talent. If you're good at something, they'll actually hire you. Depending on how your interview goes, it'll go from there. So basically, the main courses you're going to take is a lot of programming. So if you don't like programming like me, you're not going to really like the classes that you're going to be taking. There's a couple of electives that you'll enjoy. I enjoyed my networking classes, my security classes, but when it came to programming, which I'm not a fan of, I kind of was on the side playing games and things. But at the end of the day, you finish your school, you go to do internships, do certifications. There's a lot of websites out there that you could watch videos, you could read a lot of articles, you'll learn a lot from that stuff. And that's more valuable than the things you learn in college, because when it's hands-on, when you're actually in your internship and in working, you're going to be required to know things that school didn't really teach you. So you're going to learn that from your certifications, you're going to learn that from online, from reading, everything. So work experience, you begin as help desk, basically. I'm not sure if anyone knows or anyone is interested in this field, but help desk is basically everything, helping people troubleshoot their computers. I mean, all of you probably had computer problems at some point, printer issues, your internet goes down, you got to restart it. You know, so there's a lot of issues with computers and issues in the work environment, and that's basically what you're gonna be doing. You're gonna be assigned tickets. It's gonna be annoying. You're gonna have to get up a lot. So if you're a person that just likes to sit down, this not be good for you. But if you're a person that moves around a lot and you like to get your hands dirty, this is definitely a good field for you. You're gonna be getting up a lot. You're gonna be setting up meetings. You're gonna be opening up computers. So if you like doing surgery in terms of computers, that's something that you really need to be up for. You need to know your components. Like if I give you right now a lot of pieces of like a computer component and you need to put it together, if you have the mindset for that, you'll be actually pretty set for this major. But if you have no idea what a hard drive is or anything like that, then I think you got to go back and look at something else. Recommendations, again, like you got to get those certifications taken care of. That's what companies look at in the beginning. They don't really look at school. School is not as important as other careers. Again, when it comes to computer science, they want talent, they want experience. You need to like have certifications, and that's going to show like you're valuable, you know your stuff. So if you don't have any of that, then it's going to be hard to land an internship. And that's why you need to look starting second year, third year, especially around those years. If you're interested in IT, you need to start looking for internships, because like looking for internships early on, it's going to tell you like how the market is, which is pretty competitive. When it comes to IT, there's a lot of jobs out there for it, but it's a very competitive field. It starts at 50,000, but it could go all the way up to 200, almost 300,000. So for me, I started my own business because I learned like everything on my own. I pretty much learned what companies need, what solutions they need, and like a full suite of what you need to build for every company out there, because they're all similar, they're all alike, big or small. You're gonna actually like working in smaller companies than bigger companies in the beginning, because smaller companies, they have more patience, they have more chances for you. There may be a lot of travel involved. Like I go DC here and then, San Francisco, LA, New Jersey, so there's gonna be a lot of travel. You're gonna need to be willing to travel, and it's actually really cool because you're gonna be exploring a lot of things.